At 1140 Royal Street in New Orleans, Louisiana, there is a place called the LaLaurie Mansion. It's very popular in New Orleans as a tourist attraction. It's said to be haunted. You can actually tour it if you like, if you look on their website. Um, but here's the story behind the house. So it's said that the house is haunted by the spirits of slaves that used to work for the owners of the house that died on the property. That owner being Delphine LaLaurie. Delphine LaLaurie was born in 1775, her real name being Marie Delphine McCarty, or her maiden name, I should say. She had a fairly normal childhood, so that doesn't really explain why she did the awful, awful things that she did to her slaves. Um, but she isn't known for anything in her younger years until later in her life. That being the torture of slaves, which is, that's a great thing to be known by. But she was married 3 different times in her life. When she was 14, she got married to Lopez Anguilla, and she had a daughter with him, and then he died mysteriously. And then she had a second husband when she was 20, and she had 4 kids with him, 3 daughters and a son, and he also mysteriously died. And then when she was 38, she met her third husband, Dr. Louis LaLaurie, and she had a son with him. And then 5 months after their son was born, they got married. It's not really known what happened to her first 2 husbands. It's rumored that she had something to do with their deaths in order to get inheritance money, but it's never been confirmed. No one knows. In 1831, Delphine herself bought this property in New Orleans at 1140 Royal Street, which is pretty rare in 1831 for a woman to own property, but I'm not going to praise her for that because she's awful. But so she buys this property in 1831 and has this huge mansion built and buys a whole ton of slaves because that was the thing to do in 1831. The Delphine LaLaurie, she was very well respected in the community, probably because of her inheritance money from her first 2 husbands. Everyone knew her, everyone liked her. The LaLauries had a bunch of parties up in their house all the time. Everyone had a good time. Neighbors liked them. So, in 1884, they had a little party at the mansion. April 10th, 1834 to be exact. And in the middle of this party, a fire breaks out. So everyone runs out of the house in a panic, obviously. But a few of her neighbors, since everyone liked her so much, was like, let's go back in the house, let's save some of her possessions. So some people run back into the house and they wander into the kitchen where they find a cook who has chained herself by her ankle to the stove, which is what started the fire. She survived the fire, and then she was later questioned, asked why did you chain your ankle to the stove? And she said she was trying to commit suicide because she would have rather died than face the punishment that LaLaurie was going to give to her for some simple mistake that she made, claiming that they would take her upstairs to the attic, where she claimed that anyone who had been taken there never came back. So the people who ran into the house to search the house, including going upstairs and realizing, hey, she's right, there's slaves upstairs. But the door was locked. So they went back to Delphine LaLaurie, asking her for the key. And she would not give it to him. And they were like, okay. So they went back into the house, and they basically broke the door down to get into this room. And what they found, excuse me, what they found on the other side of this door was essentially a small torture chamber. Now, it's hard to tell what's true and what's not about what was actually found in the room. For a fact, there were at least 7 slaves in the room. but as in the extent of what happened to them and the previous slaves that have been in the room, it's unknown. According to newspapers such as the New Orleans Bee, it was extremely gruesome. There was supposedly a woman who had been sliced open and her intestines wrapped around her middle. Another woman whose extremities had all been broken, and then she had been shoved into a small dog cage where her limbs healed themselves into unnatural positions. People with holes drilled in their foreheads with sticks shoved into them. Um, it's like I said, it's hard to tell. It's hard to believe that someone would do something that gruesome, but you never know. There's a lot of messed up people in the world. But yeah, so this house is supposed to be haunted by the slaves that were dead on the property that were found later after the Marie left because the whole town turned on her after that. But you can tour this house if you would like at 1140 Royal Street in New Orleans.